So you're gonna ruin those pretty new teeth that you got, Doctor
No,
Teeth.
actually, I can get them replaced every week, so it's fine. I'm joking.
What are you doing?
Can I get like a
Do what
tea
you
or
want.
like a coffee or something?
Can you make your gaffer a drink? Excuse me, gentlemen. Can you make your gaffer a drink? He doesn't.
I don't know how to do it.
What do you mean you don't know how to do it?
Just like like a green tea that you give me.
Green tea.
Oh shit, these are pretty cool.
They are, aren't they? Well, you know what? Abs.
These are sick. That's a nice one. What is that when you were born?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. 700 years ago.
77.
I'm old enough to be your mother.
Wait, are we filming?
Yeah. You know what I'm like. So you got up and you walked off, asked for tea, and then come back and sat down. Yeah, it's all recording. But you know what? Thanks for inviting me down, Ben, because usually I don't get invited to these, do I?
I think you do.
No, I don't.
I think you do.
Like, you have, like, these secret, like, let's come down to the office, and then I'm sat at home and I'm like, oh, when was that then?
I think that was the last time I saw you was.
Buatsi.
Was it?
Buatsi Hutchinson.
Oh really? Was that the last time?
Yeah.
That's mad.
It is, isn't it?
That's a long time.
Very long time.
That was a good show.
It was a very good show and very good for Joshua Buatsi as well.
Yeah.
You know what? We started off with Joshua Buatsi. He goes in against former Matchroom stablemate Callum Smith.
It's yeah. You couldn't write it, could you? It's a huge fight, and fair play to Josh Buatsi, because let's be honest, he's the interim champion.
Yep.
He could wait. He could.
He's done enough of that, isn't he?
He has done enough, but I mean, he could take an easier fight. And he's decided to take on Callum Smith, former world champion, a guy that only ever lost to Better Beer than Canelo. So can he be the third one? And I think him and his team and Virgil Hunter just thought this is the right fight for us. And it's what His Excellency also wanted. It's an unbelievable card. I think with an opportunity like that, it's very hard to turn down.
When you made the fight, because obviously it's like Callum Smith almost got like quickly announced on obviously the Birmingham card, and I thought, yeah, they're warming him up for something. And then obviously we heard the rumblings, we heard the ramblings in the background, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, making the fight.
Do you want a drink, man?
Nah, I'm all right, I've got water. Making the fight, how quick was it? Now I've got my special water here, mate.
Yeah.
Special water.
Sure?
Yeah.
Why, what's in it?
Just water. Not mushrooms or anything would be flying off around the nah. Just water. So how was it easy? How easy was it to make that fight?
Very easy, because look, it's a great payday, obviously.
At least you're honest.
It was it's a great payday. I think Josh has done every challenge that's put in front of him, he comes through. He's gone through the whole domestic scene.
Yeah.
And because Viddal and Better Beer has been tied up so long, I remember when I thought that fight was never going to happen. When we first signed Josh, we thought there's no chance those two are going to fight. Fair play to His Excellency. He made that fight. I never thought it would. Then the injury happened. So it's been going on a long time. Then the rematch. So the whole division's been locked up. And so Josh is left with an interim title, which is the next best thing, really, but he's waiting on that world title fight. And so that's why I think he deserves a lot of credit, because he's literally in touching distance. And we've accepted a fight against someone that no one wants to fight. No one likes to fight with Callum Smith.
Yeah, because he's dangerous.
He's dangerous. And but Josh Buatsi is a serious killer, and he's going to show that again on February the 22nd. And as I say, that card is so historic. It's so ridiculous. I almost think the problem is we've all got used to it a bit now. But this one's even is again. I think it's hard to top this ever, and obviously I'm sure His Excellency will have other ideas, but as a boxing fan, you have to think maybe this will never happen again, because it makes no sense. The card doesn't make sense in any other universe.
No, I hear that.
I've ever heard of, and he's been able to do it. It's almost like it's fantasy stuff, and
it is.
It's complete. It's almost unbelievable. It's almost like I'm almost speechless looking at a card like that, because I know what goes in. I know the numbers involved. I know the promoters involved. I know the politics involved and all the crap. So to be able to like put it all on one card in that sort of time I don't care if you have a ridiculous budget, and of course it's ridiculous. To be able to actually pull it off is another thing.
And to get all of you lot to, to work together as well is
Yeah.
is interesting.
It's
Sorry,
amazing. You know what?
I found that funny. I have found it funny. Sorry, but
It is funny, but it takes a certain skill set to be able to manage and keep that many egos happy, and to not take sides and not this and not that. And I'll be honest, I was concerned at the start.
Okay.
Because obviously Frank was the
The
first
key.
one,
Yeah.
and I was thinking, is this going to be like, right, we're going to block him out, or we're going to, that's what happens sometimes in boxing. It's very political. So to actually have someone with all this power who's not doing it, I'm very grateful to him, genuinely.
Yeah, because he doesn't care about you. Like, he cares about the fights, the fighters, and that's what makes it. That's what makes it fair, because he's like, yeah, all right, you might not get on with him or whatever, but I want to see this fight, this fight. He's even created some potentially crazy catchweight fights as well, because he wants to see certain people get in. So it's like, you guys are the promoters, I get it, you control your fighters, but it's almost like you guys are parked and let's just get the fights made.
Yeah, no, it's true, but he also, if he wanted to, could say, because he's got that much influence, I want you to sign with him, or I want you to sign with,
Okay.
or I want you to be with us, or, the fact that he doesn't get involved, the fact that he wants everyone to be involved. His whole goal is to have everyone involved. He wants to show how it should be done. And that's a special thing. And as I say, at the start, I didn't know, whether that would happen. And so the fact that it's happening, the fact that we have such a strong partnership now with Riyadh season as well, the fact that we've got other things in the pipeline, look at the opportunity Crispin and Smith got only a couple of weeks ago. It just continues and continues. And it's a ridiculous time to be involved in the sport. Like, it really is.
Well, when you look at it, you look at, obviously, Joshua Buatsi versus Callum Smith, how far down the card it is. That just tells you the levels of the whole card, because if you think about it, that's a headline on its own, and you can say that about a lot of the other fights as well.
Yeah.
And it's like putting them in some kind of order, and you could mix that order up, you could, but it's obviously headlining with the two guys, the light heavyweights, the one that both Buatsi and Smith are going to be looking at and thinking, those guys are at the top of the tree, and it is the rematch with Beterbiev versus Bivol. I've got to ask you, what is happening? Because obviously all of us were sat at home. We saw the fight that you put on with Anthony Yarde.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know, one fight deal, whatever it is. Just clear up some of that for us, because we expected Joshua Buatsi versus Anthony Yarde. Joshua Buatsi was there. Anthony Yarde won the fight, and it was like, oh, here we go. Because I did a live watch along for it, and it was like we were waiting for them two to go head to head, and it was like, yeah, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And almost like a bad date, very anticlimactical. It didn't happen. What happened?
Look, I think in normal boxing terms, for me, it's a pay-per-view fight, and it looks all odds it was going to happen. But we live in this crazy now boxing world where opportunities can just come out of nowhere for things. Did we ever expect that Callum Smith opportunity to come in at that level? Did Josh ever expect that? No, but it did. And ultimately, Josh will do what's right for him. People are saying, Anthony Yarde's out in the cold now. But no, Anthony Yarde is a huge commercial star in that division, and there's not many of them. So, and he's in line. I think he's number 2 in the WBO. So he'll be looking at that, knowing that if everything goes through, he should be able to fight the winner.
Will that happen?
But he also has to get himself in his own big fights. Okay. And he'll be seeing that and seeing the Josh Buatsi thing happen. But for me, he offers something very different to everyone else in that division. And yeah, I just want to see him in the big fights, whether that's whatever that is next for him. That light heavyweight division domestically is a fantastic division, and yeah, I just want to see him in the big fights.
Have Boxer got any influence over? I mean, are you working with Anthony Yarde? Because I know it was a one-fight deal, and that seems to be. And I've just seen something on X that he was on TalkSport today, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
What's the position with you guys, and are you in the position to potentially make the fight with the winner? How does this work?
Look, again, it's hard to predict boxing at the moment.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him in a fight. He can't wait, in my opinion.
Okay.
He can't wait for what happens on February 22nd.
Okay.
Anthony Yarde's Anthony Yarde. He has to have his own career and he has to have his own path. And for me, he should. Oh, we're being kicked out.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying.
He needs to take a big fight now.
Will you be taking that with you guys behind him?
Listen, who wouldn't want Anthony Yarde? He's a huge star, and he's so important to that division. I hope so. I hope we'll have news soon. But yeah, for me, can't wait around. No one knows what's going to happen in boxing. No one knows. Look at Viddal better be. As I say, as Joshua Buatsi's promoter, never thought it would happen. Thought he would fight for a world title. Then saw it happen. Then thought, okay, let's get that over. Then the injury happens. 5 months later, it then happens. Now the rematch. You can't wait.
Okay.
And that's one thing I've learned. And Anthony Yarde cannot wait.
I've got to ask then. Obviously, we've seen the merger, and I'm going to push through these questions because I know it's time.
It's fine.
We've seen Queensbury now on the verge of joining up with DAZN.
Yeah.
I think it's April they're due to start that new partnership. It's a question that we spoke about last year, remember? And I was saying, would you move over? Obviously, there's some suggestion that maybe your contract's coming to an end with Sky Sports. Are you exploring other options? And what is happening? Can you put those rumours to bed?
Yeah, look, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Are you honest?
The fact that Frank's gone to DAZN.
Yeah.
Makes it even more important for me, I believe, and who knows what happens in life and what offers happen and things like that. But from where I'm stood,
Yeah.
Sky Sports is the place.
For Boxer.
For Boxer, but also for boxing. It's so important for British boxing. I know people are saying, look, when I first started and I was on BT5 Spy, I remember going for Sky and they said, no way that he's going to get Sky Sports. What does he know? He's done tournaments, he's done this, in no way. Then we actually got into Sky, but Top Rank were involved, and then it was, he won't be putting on the fights. Then it was, he won't be able to sign anyone. Then it was, he can't do any big shows. Then it was, he can't do pay-per-views, and then he can't do this, and he can't sign fighters and take them to world champion. You just have to tick it off as you go. And then you always blocked out a Riyadh season, we'll get Riyadh season partnership. You said, and then, now we're at the stage, no, we won't be on Sky much longer. It's all bullshit.
So that's what, yeah.
It's all bullshit.
Okay.
I've heard it all
the way through?
All the way through. And I look back and I think, at what, I'm sure this will continue. At the end of the day, I'm 30 years old and the other promoters have been in decades. So I'm not expecting it not to continue at every stage for the next few years, whatever. But all we have to do is just keep ticking it off. And we've never been in a stronger position. I've never had as many fighters, though. A lot of these fighters started with me at debut. Mm-hmm. Now they're headlining shows. Look at the intent that we're showing early next year. Have the British shows slowed down this year?
Yes.
Yes. But they slowed down for everyone because we're all adjusting. We're all adjusting to this new way of working, the big shows in Riyadh season and the fighters going out there. And we don't have the biggest stable, so that takes probably more of an effect.
Okay.
But I think we now understand the new landscape. We want to put on the big British shows on Sky Sports. We're going to continue to do that, and I think it's really important. I think it's great that Frank's gone to DAZN. I do, because they can make so many fights and international, and it's great to have a broadcaster supporting boxing like that. Equally, it's very important to have the shows get into the non-boxing fans and the mainstream fans to keep them interested. So I think it can work really well. But for me, it's obvious that we would stay on Sky. Okay.
Well, it's the rumours are there, and it's good to squash those rumours and put the record straight with that. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh. Yeah. I've enjoyed the scenario with yourself and Frank Warren.
I've enjoyed it.
because
I've enjoyed it. Go on.
it's just like obviously with the pictures and getting in the middle of
Pushing and the pulling.
Call me petty, and I guess I am for it, but it has been entertaining. However, I'm not you.
Yeah.
How are you weathering this storm? And like you said, all of this like negative stuff's been coming at you for a long time, and you've managed to prove everyone wrong because things have happened, things have progressed. Building that tough skin, that almost like that crocodile skin, to be able to let it bounce off like water off a duck's back, they say, don't they?
I think it's just like anything, like in boxing terms, you have hard fights and you grow from those fights. And at the end of the day, when I was going to Frank and Eddie's shows 10 years ago, 15 years ago, just as a fan, just as a kid, did I think I was going to be their biggest competition this quickly? I always had dreams of it. So to now be in the situation, it's sometimes surreal. Of course, sometimes you're like, is there not a better way of doing things? But at the same time, are they going to roll out the red carpet and say, here you go, son, welcome. We've not had any competition for this long. Now we're going to just welcome it. It's not going to happen. At times, obviously, it's been frustrating, but then at other times it's been like, a real indicator of where we've got to, and a real indicator of the level that we're now at. And it's been interesting at times. There's been certain things I've not agreed with, I don't agree with, but you're not going to agree with everything. But I think right now, things are calming down a little bit. And I thank Riyadh Season for that and Turkey Al Sheikh for that, because he doesn't like it. He tells me off when I'm being...
Oh, you've had a bit of a telling off, have you?
He loves the sport, and I think he finds it entertaining. I do think that.
We all do.
He
Sorry.
does. But I think he also thinks, don't do things for the sake of it. Don't make it harder to do this and that. So if he hadn't come into the sport, would Frank and Eddie still be at each other and probably never met? 100%. Would they both still be at me? 100%. It's
like you're the new boy, and it's like there's a pecking order, because Frank Warren had it when he started. That he had to find his own way, and that's the way I see it. I think it's very old school. So you're the new kid you're the apprentice. So it's almost like you have to know your place. Even sometimes within like the media, it's like, well, like when I first came in, it was like, who the hell is she? Who the hell, bloody hell does she think she's or whatever? And you just you just get on with it.
Yeah.
I get it. It's on a greater magnitude for you because you've got fighters. You're a promoter, so I get the spotlight is more on you. But I think you have to earn your stripes.
And that's what I think. I think it's actually normal life. It's just ours is played out in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
Like you're probably experiencing similar things that I've experienced at times in your career, but it's just not played out. So I think it's pretty normal in many ways. Boxing is more raw. People are probably more upfront and more competitive and more ingrained in that way of doing things. But I actually think if you want to achieve anything in life and you want to achieve it early on and you want to do it when people perhaps don't want you to, you're going to come up against resistance. That's all it is.
And I think it's good. Competition is good because I think it shows who's really about it and who really wants it. So, on that note, we could talk about that all night, but I need to talk about the fact that you're putting out a card on December the 14th, and you're also putting out another one straight away the month after in January, which is a good way to end the year and a positive way to start the year, because I've been one of them that's saying, what's happening with the British shows? I've been saying that. Are we going to get more shows in the UK? Yeah. Talk to us about your strategy then moving forward for 2025, and like how many shows can we expect from Boxer? Are you looking at any new signings? What can we expect from yourselves as a promoter?
Yeah, I think it's not just like the British shows. I think women's boxing as well. I think last year was a great year for women's boxing, and even the year before. And I think, let's be honest, it slowed down this year. And that's what December 14th is about, because one, Natasha Jonas gets to unify. Two, Lauren Perez coming through. Can we see unifications?
Yeah.
Can we see big fights? We saw what Marshall Shields did. We see what Taylor Serrano did. Hopefully, Dubois, we can make that fight with Terry Harper. We need to make those fights. So women's boxing is going to be a big focus, because there's not many sports where you look at the viewing figures and the women can compete with the men.
Oh yeah,
In
100%.
boxing, that can happen, and I
Yeah.
know people might find that hard to believe.
Sandy Ryan, Michaela Mayer was phenomenal. If you
Correct.
look at the ESPN numbers for that.
Correct, and I won't say names, but Jonas Mayer beat a lot of the male shows this year on
Oh,
Sky
wow.
Sports. And so you don't always get that. And so for me, women's boxing needs to be a focus. British boxing shows, we slowed down towards the end of this year, and make no mistake about it, which is why we're trying to start the new year as we mean to go on. Our fighters are coming through Jan 11th, as you said, Feb 1st. We're going to have a show on March the 7th, which we should be able to announce soon. Obviously, Feb 22nd, all in between that. But you are right. I think in terms of looking ahead next year, big British shows, consistent British shows. Women's boxing will be a priority, because we've got Caroline coming through, Lauren coming through, Fran Hennessy coming through, hopefully future stars of the sport. And so, yeah, I think it's been an adjustment period, if I'm honest. It's been a new world, this Riyadh season thing, and it's been fantastic for boxing. And I think for the promoters, it's a new way of working. It's getting used to it. Broadcasters getting used to it. How do we balance it? When's it right to take a fighter to Saudi versus when isn't it right? When's it right to go and do a Riyadh season show versus... Because if you look at the stars of the sport today, they've done their apprenticeships. They've built their profiles. They've fought consistently. They've taken the fights at the right time. And now we can enjoy the fact that Tyson Fury is a massive star, the fact that Anthony Joshua is a massive star. Without that, you're not going to get the next one. And so you have to think...
Passing the torch.
You have to think a bit ahead. And I think next year will show that.
Well, I'm going to ask then about Ben Whittaker, and that obviously his fight that he had with Liam Cameron, a difficult fight. Obviously, we saw how it played out. One of the things that I noticed is obviously Fraser Clark, he lost 13th round, really nasty injury to the side of his face. Obviously, got stopped.
We're going to get kids out.
The PR around Ben Whittaker was a lot slower than the PR around Fraser Clark. And even though Fraser Clark's injury was visible, we saw it, Ben Whittaker was sort of like, there was a bit of radio silence, which led, you know what the fans are like, we all start making up our own weird and wonderful stories. And then it sort of like put him in a very, not a nice position. Is there anything that you could have done differently for that? Because
Not
there
really.
was no real statement that came
So,
out about him.
First of all, Fraser Clark looked as though it could be potentially career-threatening, life-threatening, whatever it was. So we had to make sure that got out. I think Ben Whittaker, January this year, I think he had 200,000 followers. He was coming up with prospects.
Yeah, I get
People
it.
were saying he's not been active, this and that. In 1 year, he's gone from that to being one of the most recognisable sports people in the country. That's a lot for anyone to take in. And I know people won't understand that and say, well, he chooses to be in that situation, but the meteoric rise of it is unprecedented. And then he's had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, all in one calendar year. He comes out the ring. It was a neck injury that we'd suffered with, and that is genuine. You can look at the past 2 years and look at when he's been out. It was a horrible night for him. It was a horrible night. There were things that went on in that camp that only we can know, and he'll know as to why he felt the way he did when he got into the ring.
Okay.
But it's a bit of soul searching. Let's be honest. You know, that doesn't happen to many people in terms of that level of scrutiny. And I think, one, he's not thinking too deeply about it, but two, he wants to get things right, and he wants to come back in the right way, and he wants to give himself time to process what's gone on. You know, not coming out and saying this and saying that and making excuses. He's in a good space now. I personally believe, and people might, and I know, look, he's going to get criticism wherever he walks and this and that. he's had the experience of some people's career in 1 year that can only stand him in good stead. And sometimes when things are coming so easily, so quickly, brand deals, purses that only world champions can earn, this, that quickly, the reality of boxing is it doesn't give a shit who you
Yeah,
are.
that's right.
It doesn't care. He's not a rock star. He's not a musician. He's not. This is boxing.
This is boxing.
And it was unforgiving. And he will learn that. And he will be able to he will be able to have time now to understand that. And that is going to inform him. He's a very intelligent guy, very hardworking guy. And he's now had a life experience that most people only get, or a career experience towards the end of their career, toward the business end of their career. Personally, you ask any trainer in Britain, he's one of the most talented fighters that we've ever seen. Now, he's got to use this experience to understand that every time he gets in the ring with someone, it's life and death for them. So it's either got to be life and death for you, regardless of the success that you're having. And that's what I think is going to send him in really good stead for next year.
Liam Cameron rematch next?
That's the fight.
Next?
Yeah, that's the fight that we all want. I'm not going to be held to ransom. If Liam Cameron wants it, it'll be there.
Get Frank to dangle your legs out the window.
Exactly. But I was hoping Ben maybe would fight in December. It's not going to happen. January, February is not going to happen. He needs that time. He needs that rehab. And he'll come back strong next year. I expect April next year.
Okay. On that note, we're getting kicked out. We're going to have to continue this. Thank you so much for your time. We'll continue this. Hopefully, I'll catch up with Ben next week because he's in Liverpool. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll catch up soon.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.